Hi guys, my name's Amanda. I am a candle maker, a mom of three, and a law enforcement wife. And I would like to share with you today the top 5 things that have helped my candle business. I have had a business in candle making, soap, body care products for almost 5 years. And in that time, I feel like I've picked up a few tips, a few things that have helped guide me, have helped make things just a little bit easier along the way, and I'd like to share those with you today. So grab your coffee, I have mine, in your favorite cup, because that's just as important as what's in the cup, is the cup itself. And let's get to it. The first thing I'd like to share is when you realize that you want to have a candle business, it's very, very, very important that you know your niche. What does that even mean? A niche is a direct group or a customer that you're targeting. So my niche is not necessarily modern, young. Those things aren't me. So I just have to be who I am. I'm a mom. I'm a stay-at-home mom. I have younger children. I have a husband that I'm supporting, and while I may love the aesthetic of something, it doesn't really fit who I am and my personality. So I'm not probably going to be making super modern concrete vessels that have, a lot of modern flair. That's just not me. I am, however, more inclined, and my customers have seemed to be more inclined to the products that I make that you see here. Mason jars, comforting, nostalgic scents, elevated fragrances that remind them of their childhood but maybe have a new twist on them. I try to bring people in and help them remember their favorite memories from childhood, and that's who my aim is. Now, until you know who your aim is, you can start out with a basic candle and do just fine until you find what your story is. And you do need to have a story. Everybody says that, and it's true. Be who you are, and don't just try to do what somebody else is doing. Don't try to copy and paste someone else's idea. Come up with your own fragrance names, and come up with your own ideas on your products. You'll be proud of what you've put together, and you'll be able to share it honestly because you really did make it. Number 2, product labels, lighting, and photography. This is a huge learning curve if you don't have a background in design or photography or marketing, because that's all involved in candle making and having a business. Always be willing to learn. This was something that helped me and has always helped me. I will search out a tutorial. I will find a person that knows and ask them. I'm not afraid to ask questions. And also, I would rather know from somebody that's done that and been there and has the ability to tell me, don't do this, don't make the same mistake I did, right? One of the things that will help you the most as you're getting started or at any point in your candle making journey is to be clear on what you want your products to look like. Be consistent. And I think that's something where we can get a little lost and a little muddied. So when it comes to your labels, the lighting in your photography, and if you have an online shop or if you sell like on Etsy or you have a Shopify, your product photos are so important. One of the biggest things that I learned really early on, and it helped me so much, was that when I take a picture of my product that I'm going to either share to social media or I'm going to put it into a product listing, it needs to have good lighting. And that doesn't necessarily mean fake lighting. You can have really good lighting in front of a window in the mid-afternoon time of day where you get the most natural light. It's not sundown, it's not starting to get dark, it's not early morning sun where it's overly bright. You can get true great photography without any of the expensive equipment or backdrops. I use simple things like these right here to stage my products, and it all depends on perspective. Now you can do a little bit less of these in the background and keep it even more simple, or you can have more things in the background, but you don't want to take away from the product itself. The product itself should be front and center in whatever that you're taking the picture of. The label should always be clearly readable, because if someone's looking at this on social media and they can't read your label, they don't know who you are and they don't know what your fragrance is, and their eye isn't going to be caught. They're just going to keep going. The other thing is with photography, thankfully, we have the ability now, because of smartphones and technology, to change things with filters. So I always encourage people, if you're taking pictures on your cell phone, play with your camera app and learn how to edit your photos. Photo room and things like that can come later. I always encourage people to just start with where they are with their phones and learn how to edit a picture so that it comes out how you want it to. And you can get really great quality listing photos from a cell phone camera. You don't have to have professional photography. Most of us don't, or can't afford it, or just don't want to cross that bridge. Number 3, be consistent so people know what to expect. If I'm constantly changing my product line and eliminating products and adding products and eliminating products, people don't really know where you stand and they don't really know what to expect. So I try to keep a core group of fragrances in my candle line, even if I integrate new fragrances for the fall, for the winter, spring. Spring and summer kind of go together, I feel like, anymore, unless people just want to do 4 launches a year. But be consistent so that people know what to expect from you. I also try to do that with social media. This is something I'm constantly trying to overcome because it's really frustrating to try to come up with content. Everybody says batch create content. I've just never been that great at that. I try to be relevant in what I'm sharing and in the products that I'm promoting. So it's not always going to be about just pumping stuff out just for the sake of posting. But people will know to consistently expect from you if you are constantly posting, sharing, putting yourself out there, telling your own story. That's really important. And number 4, do not limit your sourcing to one supplier. This is huge, because if anybody has been a maker or in the product-based business where you make your own products for any length of time, you know there are so many factors that involve and can change where we get our supplies from. There's so many factors. The economy is always one of them. Shipping costs, always one of them. And then suppliers changing or even going out of business, which we have seen a lot the last few years. This is why I always encourage new makers, source from suppliers that are closest to you so that your shipping costs are lower. You don't have to buy everything off of Amazon. You don't have to limit yourself to one supplier, and you probably shouldn't, because that one supplier, if they have that fragrance that you only get from them and they discontinue it, then you're stuck. You either have to discontinue your product or you have to quickly source it from another supplier that you've never probably used before. And that is not a great place to be, especially if you do wholesale or if you have consistent orders and you need to constantly be able to produce a consistent product. So be flexible and have backups. It's so important because you literally never know when someone's going to go out of business. This happened to me personally in the past year. A supplier that I had been using for almost 5 years, nearest to me, of course, so that made it even more convenient, went out of business with very little notice. And thankfully, I kind of sensed that was coming because of some changes that were happening on their website. And I started backing off on what I was getting for them, and I started sourcing my oils, my jars, the things that I got from them the most consistently, and I started looking other places. And it wasn't that it was an inconvenience, it's just you end up spending time and money where you probably wouldn't have to if you had a backup already. So that was a learning lesson for me. I didn't have to scramble necessarily, but it was an eye-opener. And going forward, I keep a lot of suppliers on the line so that I have backups with my fragrances, your wax, your wicks, your jars, even your labels. Sometimes your label companies, they'll change their label products. and the finish on your label that you've bought for 5 years, they've suddenly changed it and it no longer looks and feels the same. Happened to me too. And finally, number 5, ask for honest feedback and don't take it personally when you get it. From the very beginning of my business, I have asked friends, new customers, family, coworkers of my husband, people that I trust their opinion and I know they'll be honest with me. I've asked them to try my products and tell me what they really think, what they really like, and what they really can live without. And I realized that it's not about me. It's about producing a product that people enjoy and they want to buy again and again. Because it's not just about making money, it's about connecting with people. When my products connect with people, they connect with me as the business owner. So getting honest feedback sometimes can sting, especially when you've spent a really long time designing a label, buying a jar, making a candle, testing the fragrance, testing the wick. When you've done all that work and somebody doesn't really like it, it stings. I'm not gonna lie. But I also realize that I can always learn and grow and develop past my own limitations and take people's advice. It's okay. And then there's sometimes we don't need to take people's advice, especially if they're just being negative for the fun of it. I hope these things helped you today. They're things that I wish I had known from the beginning, but it's great to know them now. And if you have any other questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below, and I hope you guys have a blessed day.